Wife became a stranger full of life and joy, ever since her high school best friend returned, revealing a hidden past. I have been married with my wife for 7 years and we met 8 years ago in a church meeting and we became friends. My wife is a quiet, kind and beautiful woman, any man's dream, therefore it was obvious that I fell for her instantly, although she always behaved with what I thought was shyness, not wanting to cuddle with me or only kissing me on rare occasions. We both were raised in Christian families in a part of our country that is really religious, but unlike me, her parents were always the type who follows the holy doctrine really seriously, so she has a traditional way of thinking about religion and how women should behave, so I always thought that it was because of that her behavior is like that. Sometimes I think she looks like a robot. She's nice and kind with everyone, but a couple of times I saw her staying all quiet staring into space like if she was dead. Over the years I began to take it as something normal on her personality because she always refused to go to the psychologist and always said that she's just like that. Until 2 months ago when she found out that the woman who was her best friend in high school was coming back to the town. I never saw her so happy and alive. I felt happy for her, thinking that what she needed was a female friend. My wife never used to leave the house, but since that woman is staying in the town she has been going out as much possible. She became a different person, but not in a bad way, but she looks full of life, and to be honest I never saw her smile as much as when she tells me that she will go out with her friend for a coffee. For the record, I'm sure she's not sleeping with her because she doesn't know how to lie, and her behavior with me never changed. I'm not going to deny it, days ago I started to feel jealous of that woman, that she is the reason why my wife smiles so much and is on her phone all day. Out of pure curiosity 3 days ago I entered her FB and some albums were public. She had a lot of albums and I found pictures of her and my wife during high school. That woman was hugging my wife as if they were a couple. In some of the photos they were holding hands or looking at each other with bright smiles, which is something she never does with me. Her family hates gay people, although my wife never talked ill about them but just avoid talking about the topic, which now makes sense to me. I don't know whether to confront her because maybe I'm just thinking too much, or maybe she's in love with her ex-girlfriend. The only thing I'm sure of is that she only looks happy talking about that woman, so I don't know what to do. Edit. I'm sorry if I write something wrong, English is not my first language. Update 1. I decided to confront my wife and ask about the photos with her friend during high school. Everyone in the post said that they are most likely just friends and made my mind feel more in peace, thinking that I was overthinking, but when I showed her the photos she began to breathe fast in what I think was a panic attack. I helped her to calm, but then she got upset because I sneaked in her friend FB. I knew she was trying to change the subject because she loves to do that, so I got serious and told her to talk. After a few long minutes full of her trying to change the topic, she ended up telling me everything. Indeed, she and her friend used to be a couple during high school and friends since kindergarten. They kept the relationship as a secret, pretending to be only best friends until my wife's parents found out and beated her up, separating them. Her friend moved to the capital that year and they never saw each other again, but for what my wife said and showed, they never stopped loving each other. In some point of the conversation my wife stopped calling her friend by name, and without realizing she started calling her Mia more, which hurt me because in all years married she never called me like that. I asked her if she was cheating on me with her friend and said that they never kissed or anything, but I'm sure she's emotionally cheating me. She doesn't know what's that concept, so she really believes she's not doing anything wrong. The reason why her friend never wanted to meet me or even go to our wedding is because she hates to see her love married with a man she doesn't even like and living a lie. Ouch. I asked my wife if she loves me and said yes, but like a best friend. Yes, my own wife just friend-zoned me. She cried a lot, saying that she's really sorry for lying to me. When we meet we really clicked as friends, and she told me that her parents insisted her to marry me so she could heal. That explained why she never liked to hug, cuddle or do anything romantic with me. It wasn't because she was shy but because she didn't like me. I wanted to lose my temper and yell at her. I wanted to cry and even run away because I was patient and empathetic with all the times she rejected my affection and I felt alone. I've even been thinking for years that maybe I'm a bad husband and I was treating her badly without realizing it. Feeling insecure about my own personality, but she assured me that I was never the problem. I didn't cry or yell. I just left the house and came to my sister's house. We didn't talk about divorce or anything like that. I even think my wife doesn't see any problem with what she did with her friend, but I'm sure that I don't want to spend all my life in a loveless marriage with a woman that will never love me back. I'm sorry for the long post. I'm just venting at this point, but I feel like I wasted all my youth. I didn't expect it to update so fast, but I needed to talk about that. It's not like I don't feel bad for her, I do, but now I feel even worse for myself. Update 2. I come back to my house the day after my last update and my ex-wife was there laying in the couch. The first thing I said when I entered was, we're going to divorce. Maybe that wasn't the best way of saying it, but she have the habit of changing the topic when I want to talk about serious things, so I didn't want her to do that this time. She clearly didn't expect that and started to cry and have an anxiety attack, saying that we can't divorce, that I can't do that to us. But what hit me harder was there's no point in us breaking up. The fact that I don't love you doesn't change anything, which is true. I realized that our relationship was always like that, her treating me just like a friend and me accepting that kind of trait. She said that she never cheated or anything like that, even if I explained again what's emotional cheating. I told her that she's not even attracted to man, so there's no sense in staying married because we're just not for each other, and asked her if she still loved that best friend, and she didn't deny it but kept insisting that we shouldn't divorce. I can understand why she was so desperate, but it made me feel used, like if I was her pathetic beard who she can always use as a shield for herself, or a dog who will always be happy with the smallest token of affection. I don't need her signature anyway to get a divorce, so even if she doesn't want to, we're 100% going to break up. I told her I'm not going to take her out of the closet, but if anyone asks I'll just say the truth, avoiding the sexuality topic because I don't want people gossiping and assuming things that didn't happen. The lands and basically all the things of the house are mine, and maybe I'm an asshole for this, but I told her that I will not give her anything because it's all mine and I inherited the land from my grandfather. At this point she just looked sad and defeated, so didn't complain or anything, although I will get advice from a lawyer to be sure. I told her that she can stay until December in the house, and she answered that she will be probably have to come back to live with her parents, which actually made me feel bad because my ex-in-laws are not good people, but for what she said, she's still talking with her best friend, so luckily she's not alone. The conversation finished awkward with me just leaving. For now I'm staying at my sister's house. I can have time for myself since she and my other sisters are out of the province for a concert. I didn't talk with my ex-wife after that day, and she didn't try to contact me, but I know that she told my ex-in-laws about the divorce because they wanted to contact me to ask why we're divorcing, but I just answered that these are things that need to be resolved only between her and me. So this will be probably my last update because I will go NC with my ex-wife after the divorce. We don't have children's. Sometimes she started talks about having a baby, and now I feel really relieved of always saying that I didn't felt ready. Maybe something in me was already telling me that she wasn't for me, so we don't have anything that tie us together. I have been going to the psychologist since I was a child, so I think that has helped me a lot to channel my emotions. Many in the comments said that I shouldn't have empathy or things like that for her, but we're both broken people that suffers from a religious trauma, and I know how bad that messed to people's mind and heart. Some people in the comments were confused about why I stayed with her when she clearly didn't love me romantically, but I don't know. Maybe I always justified her actions because somehow I felt identified with her. Maybe I have a hero complex, or maybe my sense of duty is too strong that I felt internally tied up with her and responsible of making her happy as her husband, even if she always rejected my romantic love. I don't know. That's something I will talk and work with my psychologist. Also, I received questions like why I married with her in the first place, and she was the one who said we should marry, and I was immature and young at that time, and because we got along well I thought it was a good idea. For now I just want a divorce and then spend time with my family. In general I feel numb and weird. I haven't cried yet, and in the session of yesterday my psychologist told me that he thinks I already grieved the relationship long time ago, even if I didn't realize it. I don't feel like I lost a wife, but like I lost a close and good friend and company. Not a heartbreak pain, but a betrayal pain. Anyways, I don't want anything to do with her anymore. Maybe I'm being a bad person for abandoning her knowing the type of life she had, but I can't save a person who doesn't want to be saved, and I'm tired of trying. For now I will just say goodbye, maybe not to a woman I saw as the love of my life, but to a woman who helped me and was a good friend for years. I'm really thankful about the kind comments people left, even some mean ones which make me think that maybe I'm too quiet with how I reacted. That's something wrong? Update 3. Hello. It's been a while since I posted, and sadly the mods deleted the 2 times I tried to post a final update. I don't know if someone is going to read this, but my sister, she knows about the Reddit posts, showed me that someone posted the story on TikTok. Sadly I read the comments, and beside the account changed a lot of things. I also read all kind of comments assuming things about me that are fake. I want to clarify some things. 1. I never married her because I wanted a submissive woman. We were both like best friends. I don't know why I read comments saying that I wanted a housewife when I didn't. Many times I offered her to work with me, but she never wanted to look for a job or study something, so I didn't insist it because we were doing well financially. 2. I wasn't going to open the relationship for her. Luckily I realized I deserved so much better, and to be honest, I already give up too much things for her to give up, also my life. Maybe some people is okay with having a loveless marriage, but not me, not anymore. 3. I read a lot the comments saying he should help her, he should be generous with the divorce, but how do you help a person who doesn't want to be helped? I tried for years to help her, and now all I do is keep hearing about horrible things she did behind my back that I don't really want to talk about. 4. She used you because she was afraid of coming out. I understand that, I do, but I deserve that? I deserve to be used? I deserved her to even use my money to buy things for her best friend? I don't think so. We live in an open country. Even one of my sisters is lesbian and married, and I know I would have helped my soon-to-be ex-wife in a past if she confessed that to me. 5. We married, but she had countless opportunities to tell me the truth. She never cared to see me feel insecure about her. Instead she kept insisting that we should have a baby. Now I realize that she wanted that to make sure that if we divorced she would get something, since she never worked or studied. 6. I found out her best friend have a wife and a baby, so no, my ex-wife is not with her, and the situation became even more messed up, but honestly I don't want to get into that. My ex keep insisting that she never cheated on me with her physically, so I think I believe her in that, at least. 7. I also suffer from religious trauma, and a trauma doesn't make you a bad person. That's something that's inside. 8. Nobody forced her to the marriage. In my country nobody does that. I asked her why she wanted to marry, and she said that her parents told her that she needed to heal, and she said I was a good man for her. That's why she used to insist a lot in getting married. So if anyone wants to know how everything ended, I'm getting divorced, but it's a tedious and lengthy process. I'm keeping the house, the car, everything. I'm selfish? Maybe, but I wanted to think of myself once in a lifetime. Working for those things is hard and I dedicated my life to building my house. Me ex-wife is currently living with her brother. She never asked me how I was, neither when I left the house after finding the truth, but I did check if she was fine, sending messages the first days asking how she was feeling. I suffered a mental breakdown a few days ago because she keeps sending me texts saying that we should come back together, we should have a child. I never wanted to have a baby with her and she insisted a lot of times in that, and that it doesn't matter that she doesn't love me, she never loved me and we lived well, so I should go on with the marriage for her. It made me realize she's only trying to make me feel guilty, so that just made me understand that for her I'm not even inhuman. Maybe I'm not even a dog at her eyes, so I just blocked her number. I understand she's anxious because she doesn't have anything, but it's not like I've never told her to finish a career, so to be honest, I just give up on her. I'm too tired of this situation. I don't really know what she's going to do with her life, but I don't care anymore. My psychologist made me realize all the narcissistic traits she has. I want to move on with my life because I deserve that and because I'm tired of being used. So yeah, I don't know if someone is going to read this, but I want to leave this post here because sadly people likes to distort the story. Update 4. I'm finally divorced. I thought it would take at least 8 months to complete, but it was faster than I thought, since in my country it takes the signature of only one person for the divorce to be completed. She started making things complicated for me when she realized that we were really going to part ways. She even made up that I had cheated on her when I had only said that we were going to divorce because of differences. That way no one would ask, not even her parents, who now think that I'm the one who cheated, but I don't care. But as I always say, I got tired of trying to understand her and her actions. She started to bother me a lot, even coming to the house, and I didn't want to deal with her anymore, so I just gave her a few of the furniture and appliances in the house even though I paid for everything. It doesn't matter. She was a housewife, so after all she deserves her share in the divorce, and I know her. She would have kept insisting, and I was so feeble-minded at that point that I just wanted to stop seeing her forever, to be free of her. I guess she came out of the closet herself because now she's dating an older woman and living with her as far as I know. I don't know if she lied to me and I don't want to know it. I don't want to know if that woman is another lover she had. I don't want to know how much they know each other. I don't care. I don't want to hurt myself with that. It's her life, so at least now she's being herself. My sisters wanted to go and beat her up when they found out, but I told them not to go or she could take advantage of that. I found out about a lot of other things she did behind my back, but I don't want to talk about it, just that I'm a big fool. I hope she can finally be happy and stop using people for her own good, since I know she wasn't happy with me and I wish happiness for myself too. About her best friend, I really have no idea what happened to her. My sister knows that woman's wife, and to this day they upload photos together with the baby. My sister couldn't talk about it to that woman's wife because, well, she doesn't have any proof. I've been feeling good. I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. I think people on internet have more empathy for my ex than for me when I talk about this, haha, but I think now I don't care anymore and I rather this that way because I reject being a victim. I have my family and friends being my biggest support. I used to hide a lot of things from my psychologist because I knew that he would tell me that those things are wrong, and a big part of me didn't want to hear the truth, but a few months ago I was totally honest with many things that happened in my marriage. He scolded me a little but has helped me to see all the abusive things that I suffered. Even if it was not something physical, I think that mentally they damaged me a lot. I'm not going to play the victim because I refused myself many times to get out of there and keep trying like a fool. I don't see myself as a victim. I've been a victim before and I don't want to feel that way again. I've been going out with my friends to clubs. Having married so young, I lost part of my youth because I had to work, study and keep a house, so I've been really enjoying partying. Less than a month ago I started dating a girl. It's nothing serious, but we enjoy each other's company. It's weird to be with a woman who makes me feel appreciated. And she doesn't look at me with boredom when I talk. I'm really quiet. Some people called me sexist for saying that being quiet is a good thing, but I never saw it as a flaw. But she's too talkative, so it's always good to have a talk with her. My ex-wife and I had almost no intimacy. I have a trauma and it was hard for me to feel comfortable being intimate, and now looking back, I thought my ex just wanted to make me feel comfortable. But now I see that she used my trauma as an excuse to not touch me. Every time I tried to get comfortable, she would just say, you know, let's stop this or you'll have nightmares later. I was very stupid too to believe all that. She just didn't want to touch me. But thanks to this girl I've started to enjoy myself and feel comfortable. Not many things happened honestly, and I doubt many people would mind about this, but I thought it doesn't damage me to post an update. After giving the appliances and furniture to my ex, she just totally stopped talking to me. I've been focusing on myself. I feel like I'm too young to be divorced anymore, but I feel good. I feel like this has been my biggest sign to start again, and I want to move forward for myself and my family. I think I learned a lot about this, as painful as it still is. Update 5. I hesitated quite a bit before posting again because I wasn't sure if anyone, even on this side of the internet, would still care about a random man's life after the storm died down. Truth is, though, the last few months have turned out much crazier than I could have imagined, even after everything that happened with my ex-wife. Just when I thought I'd signed off forever on this part of my life, it came crashing back in unexpected ways. Maybe if you're still here, you'll want to know what really happened after the dust settled. Life post-divorce started peaceful, almost eerily so. For the first time since I was 20, no one tiptoed around the kitchen or sat with a haunted look at the dinner table. I spent days with my sisters, rediscovering little things I'd forgotten I enjoyed, drinking too much bad coffee, taking pointless drives into the hills, buying groceries for nobody but myself. At first, freedom tasted more like loneliness than anything else. But with time, I started to feel lighter, as if my body was finally unlearning years of tension. About 2 weeks after the last update, I decided to really clean out the marital house, a task I'd put off, both for practical and emotional reasons. I packed up old trinkets and keepsakes, finding strange bits of memorabilia, candid photos, birthday cards written in handwriting that wasn't mine or hers, little gifts buried in drawers. The most interesting thing was a faded diary, obviously old, stuffed behind some winter coats in the attic crawlspace. I didn't want to invade anyone's privacy, not even hers anymore, but curiosity got me. Most entries were written around the time we got engaged. They weren't even about me. Pages and pages describing feelings for her, the best friend from high school, pages alternately angry, paranoid, and desperately hopeful. The last few pages, dated shortly after our wedding, turned almost glassy-eyed and robotic, a list of prayers, Bible verses, and reminders: smile at him, ask him about his work, remember to get groceries. It was sobering, and it hit me just how far she'd buried herself under other people's expectations. I left the diary in a sealed envelope for her at her brother's house. No note, just the diary. It was hers to deal with, not mine, and considered it the real end of our story. But the town I live in is small, people talk, and nothing stays secret forever. By midwinter, news of the divorce had moved through the grapevine. I mostly kept my head down, letting the whispers pass over me. I started seeing Mary Soul, the chatty woman I mentioned before, and for a month or so everything was sweet and simple. She was gentle when talking about intimacy and never once made me feel like my quietness was a flaw. We started to build this small world of inside jokes, late-night burger runs, shared playlists, and it felt soft. Around the beginning of spring, things went wild. I got a call out of the blue from my ex-wife's mother. She hadn't spoken to me since the divorce, except for cold, clipped messages about picking up furniture. This time she was crying, actually sobbing, saying her daughter was missing. She'd left the apartment she shared with her new girlfriend, left her phone, even left her wallet. No one had seen or heard from her in nearly 2 days. I was stunned. I hadn't spoken to my ex in months, not since that very final text before blocking her, and I told her mother as much. I got off the phone shaky and confused, feeling a strange guilt I didn't want. Later that week, her brother dropped off a sealed envelope at my house with my name on it. It was written in her careful handwriting, the one she used when she wanted to show she was serious. Inside was a letter addressed to me, 6 pages, single-spaced. She apologized effusively, not just for the marriage, but for years of hiding and self-denial, for pushing away every attempt I made to get close, for using my patience as a shield. She explained that her new relationship didn't work because she was too scared to actually trust anyone. She didn't know how to love anymore without fearing the consequences. She said I'd been the only person who ever stayed, even though she'd pushed me away the whole time. The last part of the letter was the most heartbreaking. You were kinder to me than I ever deserved. Please don't let me make you bitter to the world. It read like a goodbye. I didn't want to get involved, but after reading the letter, I just couldn't let it go. I reached out to her brother and girlfriend. I didn't have answers, but I told them about the diary and the letter, suggesting she might have gone somewhere meaningful from her past. They called the police, and it sparked a frantic 24 hours where no one knew where she was. Thankfully, she was found the next morning at a small pilgrimage site a few towns over, confused, exhausted, but alive. I'll never know exactly what happened, but I heard she eventually agreed to check into therapy at her girlfriend's urging. It's a strange sort of closure, knowing she's out there, hopefully getting help she never wanted to accept from me. 3 months later, I got another letter. This one was shorter. Thank you for being patient, even if we were always wrong together. I hope you can forgive me, for my sake, but also for yours. Don't let your heart close. You still deserve everything. I haven't written back, I don't think I need to. Whatever forgiveness I have, I've already spent it. The last big twist: after this entire wild year, I learned something about myself that I never would have if I'd stayed in that marriage. As much as I loved Mary Soul and enjoyed dating, I realized the person I wanted most was just myself. Being alone didn't make me sad anymore. It made me grateful, almost, this sense that, even after years of giving and not quite receiving what I needed, I hadn't been emptied. I was still here, and maybe that was enough for now. I still haven't cried for my marriage. I think my psychologist was right, and those tears fell long ago. Sometimes you lose someone and grieve them for years before they're gone. Sometimes they never really let you go at all, except in the end when they have to. I wish my ex-wife luck, wherever she is. For the first time in years, life feels uncertain in a good way, not because I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, but because I finally get to ask myself what I want, instead of just how to keep the peace. Update 6. I honestly never thought I'd write another update. I thought the mess was behind me, the paperwork done, the dust settled, and all the stories exhausted. But life has a way of unspooling in unpredictable directions just when you're sure you've seen every possible twist. The last few months, not dramatic in the explosive sense, but quietly, profoundly strange, have made me rethink what moving on even means. It hit at the start of summer. Mary Soul and I had parted ways, not with drama but a heartfelt, honest chat. She wanted a serious relationship, marriage, maybe even kids, and I just wasn't there, not yet, maybe not for a long time. We cried together, well, she did most of the crying, I just sort of sat there, exhausted and relieved all at once, and then life became very, very empty for about a week and a half. The days felt too quiet, and I found myself doing things just to fill the hours, cleaning the kitchen until midnight, mending shirts I never wore, buying unnecessary tomatoes at the market because old women smiled at me with that look, like I was clearly missing something vital. One night, I was sitting on my back porch, half drunk on bad beer, when my sister called me. She sounded oddly nervous, said she was coming over with someone who needs to see you. Before I could protest, she hung up. 20 minutes later, she showed up with my ex's former best friend, the one who had always been at the center of so much mystery and pain. It turns out, she and my ex hadn't spoken since the incident at the pilgrimage site. She'd married, moved away, was raising her child quietly, but apparently had always wondered what really happened, why everything exploded the way it did. Recently, my ex-wife's mother, in one of those small-town acts of closure seeking that only mothers understand, had reached out to her, thinking maybe she could offer comfort. So now here we were, two people who'd only ever seen each other in photographs or at a chilly distance at funerals, sitting together at my rickety kitchen table. At first, it was polite small talk. Ominous silences punctuated the facts about weather, our jobs, local scandals. Finally, she asked, "Do you hate her?" The question stopped me cold. I told her I didn't. I wasn't angry anymore, hurt, maybe forever, but not angry. She nodded and told me about her own grief, losing not just her high school girlfriend but the future they daydreamed about. Her parents took her away and I just let it happen. I thought she'd come back or call, and then suddenly, she was married. To you. We both sat with that for a while, two casualties of the same fundamentalist narrative, both tricked into thinking real love was something you could run away from or bury deep under duty. We laughed, weirdly, at how terrible we both were at romantic relationships. Before she left, she asked if she could leave me her number, not in a romantic way, just as people who should have been friends all along but had never gotten the chance. After that, something shifted. I started hearing little snippets about my ex-wife secondhand. She was really sticking to therapy, had moved out from the girlfriend's place and was working at the local library part-time. Her mother, who I always thought was pure judgment, sent my sister pastries for your brother, because no one should eat alone. One Saturday, my ex's brother stopped by to drop off a box of my old books I didn't even know I'd left behind and said, "She's doing better." I think she finally stopped being afraid all the time. It felt weirdly good to hear. Meanwhile, without really meaning to, I'd fallen sideways into routine with my ex's former best friend. Let's call her Anna. We weren't dating, nothing like that, but every couple of weeks we'd grab coffee and talk honestly about what happened to us. It was liberating to be around someone who really understood the way secrets can rot even the best intentions. Anna's wife sometimes joined us, and I realized that, weirdly, a kind of extended patchwork family had formed against all odds. My own life gradually changed, too. I started sleeping better. Little things I'd been anxious about, like attending the church social, or heading up the team barbecue at work, didn't freeze me anymore. I even joined a local hiking group, despite my aversion to anything resembling forced conversation, and made a few actual friends, one of them a quiet guy named Diego who introduced me to astronomy. We've spent more weekends than I ever thought possible standing in the cold, talking about stars and bad coffee. A few weeks ago, I ran into my ex-wife for the first time since our divorce. It was in the city park, early morning, both of us out on separate, accidental walks. We weren't awkward. We talked for maybe 20 minutes, about nothing and everything, from her new cat to library book sales to what grief feels like when it finally burns itself out. Part of me was waiting for the sadness or regret but neither came. She looked older, healthier, less afraid. She apologized again, soft and genuine and without that desperate edge. I told her I forgave her, truthfully, and I think for the first time I meant it with no expectation of anything in return. That evening, I sat outside and watched the sky turn gold and pink, feeling a ridiculous amount of peace. For the first time, maybe ever, I felt like my life was my own, not someone else's experiment or escape plan. I don't have big ambitions right now. I want to keep hiking, maybe learn guitar, maybe one day try dating for real again, without the old anxieties. My family and friends see me as someone whole. I even caught myself smiling at nothing, just glad to exist. So, here's where I am. My marriage is over, but so are the blame games and secrets. I still have old scars, but they don't run my life anymore. I do believe we were thrown together by circumstance, damaged each other, but also helped each other survive. If I could say anything to people who are still stuck in stories like mine, it's this: sometimes it takes years for things to really end, and even longer for peace to begin. But eventually, if you're patient with yourself, and a little lucky, the story moves somewhere softer and stranger than you ever could have predicted.